everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gringo Show. Glad to have you with us. This has been an active week in the world and right here in Mexico. Lots of fights between good and evil while the world is starting to climb out of the COVID darkness. The Mexican government announced a return to the green light for all states in the country except for one, Querétaro. Querétaro, the desert paradise that Chilangos think where everyone has moved to escape the city, then realizing that you're the only one there with nothing to do. But Saturday was a dark, dark moment in the state's history as a huge fight broke out at the Estadio Corregidora during a match between Querétaro and Atlas of Guadalajara. After about an hour, a fight broke out in the stands that got so violent, chaos ensued and people had to run onto the field to escape it. The government has been reporting that 26 people were injured, a few critically, but the social media rumor mill is churning out other information, some saying that there were many deaths and that the government hasn't reported on it. The government has vowed to capture the assailants and bring them to justice. There also could be consequences for this that will affect many fans. There's talk of suspending alcohol sales and, even more serious, taking away Mexico's participation in the 2026 World Cup as a host venue. Tuesday night, the Mexican Football Federation announced that Querétaro will play the rest of their home games this season without fans and will not allow their fans to attend any away games as well. And I'm just asking, how is that going to be enforced? They're going to check at the door and be like, who are you supporting this? I'm supporting America. All right, I'm supporting Querétaro. Sorry. You can't be in here. As of this recording, authorities arrested 14 people involved in the violence. And get this, one was turned in by his mother, who should definitely get a Mother of the Year award, right? Mijo. One of the people that were arrested is named Jesus. And come on, man, if you're named after JC, you can't do that stuff. I mean, if your name was Adolf or now Vladimir, all right, I get it, but Jesus? Moving on, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has entered its second week, and although its military is 8 times larger, the Ukrainian army and a patchwork of civilians are slowing them down in a remarkable show of courage and valor that has shocked the world. But AMLO has been steadfast in maintaining Mexico's neutrality, continuing his refusal to inflict any sanctions on the Russian economy. Although trade between the two nations doesn't really amount to much. Mexico imports a bit of fertilizer and aluminum, and Russians just love pineapple chocorroles. If AMLO bans them, maybe they'll stop fighting. Niet, not the chocorroles. I don't know, I can't do a Russian accent, Russian, Mexican, kind of mixed in. But because Russia supplies a lot of gasoline to the world and is a commodity, gas prices in the country have been affected. The government has subsidized its prices to keep it at 21 pesos. But that's only for regular gasoline. No subsidies for premium gas. Fresas, let them eat cake. Chancellor Marcelo Ebrard bragged about it in a tweet, citing that Mexico's price is much better than the 33 pesos a liter in the United States. But the rise in prices could be a boon to state-owned Pemex and could raise funds for the country's budget, allowing AMLO to spend on programs, maybe build a baseball stadium in every single pueblo in the country. Some 300 people, mostly Ukrainian nationals living in Mexico City, surrounded the Ángel de la Independencia on Sunday to protest the invasion. And I just hope they didn't have to compete with the 10 a.m. Zumba class that happens there every Sunday. Viva Ukrainia! 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, is that Zumba? I've never done Zumba before. A number of paramilitaries and volunteers have been crossing the border to help protect major cities like Kiev from the incoming Russian forces. And the Ukrainian news service reported that Mexicans were in that group. This is incredibly dangerous, as El Universal reported this week that because Mexico is officially neutral, if a Mexican citizen gets captured, they may not be able to return and could be deemed a war criminal if detained by the Russian government. In other news, you may have looked in the sky this week and thought, did I just warp back to the 1920s when a huge Zeppelin flew through the skies of Mexico City to convey a message about the incredible violence against women to kick off International Women's Day? Women in Mexico have used this day to highlight the amount of harassment, mistreatment, and femicides that occur across the country in past years, feeling that the need to resort to violence and vandalism for the government and ordinary citizens to pay attention to the injustices that happen every single day throughout the country. The crowd, estimated by the city government of being over 75,000 strong, organized at the Ángel de Independencia and were marched to the Zócalo, where they were met by police who used pepper spray to disperse the crowd. There was vandalism. The Banorte branch on Reforma was destroyed, but reports said that it was by hooded men and not the protesters. This often happens in large protests in the city, where vigilantes cause violence to create opposition to the protests that are happening. There were signs of peace, women distributing flowers to various police officers, and the sea of purple matching the famous jacarandas that just bloomed over the weekend. Of course, AMLO wrote off the protesters as a bunch of conservatives, the magic word he uses for anything and anyone that criticizes him.
Por eso también hago un llamado a quienes van a manifestarse mañana, las mujeres, para que no se caiga en provocaciones y no haya violencia, porque tenemos información de que se están preparando con marros, con sopletes, con bombas molotov. ¿De qué se trata? Ya eso no es defender a las mujeres, ni siquiera es feminismo. Esa es una postura conservadora, reaccionaria, en contra nuestra, en contra de la política de transformación.
That does it for this edition of The Gringo Show. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook for a quick update on what's happening here in Mexico. Hope you join us next week. Thanks for sharing.
Gringo, Mexico is laughing thanks to you.